What up, guys? So today, one of the first things that I saw this morning when I woke up, because I'm kind of like a little bit of a freak of nature in that, well, it's not a freak of nature. It's just like this is a horribly bad habit, and I want to acknowledge up front that this is like a horribly bad habit. But one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning is I pick up my phone and I look at my Twitter. And Joshua always yells at me about this because he's like, Carlin, you're going into war as soon as you wake up in the morning. Give yourself a breather. But this morning, I picked up my phone and I looked at my Twitter, ignoring Joshua's good advice. And the very first thing I saw was actually a tweet from Scott Adams about this New York Post article. And he said he took the test and he didn't think the test was valid, but he thought it was an interesting thing. And I was like, oh man, so many people think I'm such a bitch sometimes. Maybe I should just take the toxic personality test and let them know exactly what kind of bitch I am. And so I wanted to at some point today just do a video of me doing this test, and then I was on Zoom like all effing day. And so I was like, why don't I just do it live? Why don't I just do it live and just see what happens? I haven't even looked at it yet. I kind of skimmed over the article. I have the test pulled up just to have it on the screen already, but I have not looked at this at all. But I thought what we would do in this video is I'm going to read this article and we're going to try to understand what this test is doing together. And then before I take the quiz, I want to show you guys my DISC profile, because DISC is the psychological assessment that I use in the workplace. I find that DISC is the easiest to understand psychological assessment. And so I want to show you just the last DISC profile I took, which was in 2016. It might actually be kind of interesting to see if my DISC profile has changed. And maybe I'll do an update video on what my DISC profile is at some point. But I'm going to show you my DISC profile because there are legitimately challenging aspects of my DISC profile that I think other people can sometimes read as a toxic personality, but it's not like DISC is not good or bad or better or worse. It's just like you have to look at things as like they are this. And so I'm going to show you my DISC profile, and then I'm going to take the quiz live, and I'm going to walk through my answers, and I'm going to explain my answers, and then we're going to find out if I have a toxic personality. So we're just going to see. We're going to put these rumors to bed once and for all. And maybe I really do have a toxic personality. And maybe my haters will be like, aha, Carlin, we told you. We told you were a sociopath. Maybe that'll be the case. I mean, I tend not to think that. But hey, listen, man. Sometimes I'm wrong. I don't think I am in this case, but I can admit when I am. So that's what we're going to do in this video. First, we're going to read the article. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about my DISC profile and why some people might find me challenging and why I actually do really understand that. And then I'm going to take this test live. We're doing it live. And if you're excited about that, please mount that like button. And as always, if you would like to support the work I'm doing or just connect with me just outside of the YouTubes, the very best place you can go is my Locals community. Locals is the best place on the internet. There are no trolls allowed. It is free to join my Locals community, kb.locals.com. And when you join for free, you get ad-free videos. You also get to see what's going on in the community. You get to watch what people are posting and see the comments and things like that. So if you just want to check it out, you don't have to pay anything. It's totally cool, man. But if you do want to support the work I'm doing, you can become a monthly member or an annual member. Monthly membership starts at $5 a month. It opens up everything on the platform. You can give more if you want to, and I, of course, always appreciate it, but don't feel like you have to. But if you want to go the full board with the annual membership, that's going to be $50 for the year, which gives you 2 free months. And we do lots of stuff in my Locals. We do 2 Zoom calls a week. We do a book club. Right now, we're reading The Fountainhead. So if you haven't started reading The Fountainhead yet, start reading it. It's much longer than I thought it was when I picked it for book club. So we're reading The Fountainhead. We do debate club. We do Stitch and Bitches or Craft and Bitches. I'm about to do a movie night this week. We're going to watch Harrison Bergeron. I don't know exactly when that's going to be yet. I know I haven't figured it out. It's going to be a surprise movie night. But you have to be in my Locals to take part in movie night. kb.locals.com. If you want to become a supporter, that opens up all the perks. All right. Let's dig in. And Edward starts us off. Keep up the good work, Dr. K, and enjoy the books. Arrived earlier today. Yay, Edward. Awesome. And thank you. All right, let's read this article and find out what this quizzy quiz is all about. When I do StreamYard, I have to I have to rearrange things different than I normally have them on my desktop. Okay. Hang on, hang on. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right. Are you the problem? A California based personality assessment company, Truity, I think I actually vaguely remember them. I think that they were getting into workplace assessment stuff a couple years ago. I think so. Has developed a toxic person test that helps people find out what bad behaviors they have and if they're actually a toxic person that everyone is trying to avoid. The test uses principles of the Big Five model of personality, which of course is the one that Jordan Peterson really likes. There is actually overlap between the Big Five and DISC. There's some overlap, though it's not entirely like a one-to-one thing. It's a little bit of an apples and oranges comparison, but there is some overlap between the two. And commonly loathe behaviors on social media and analyze. Oh God, if this test is going to analyze my Twitter, I'm going to fail, guys. If this test is gonna analyze my Twitter, I'm absolutely going to fail. Twitter should not count. Twitter is not real life. I am not who I really am in real life on Twitter. Twitter is for shit posting. That's all it is. Oh God, I hope this test is not going to analyze my Twitter. Okay, social media to analyze participants and give them feedback on where they fall within 3 of the Big 5 personality traits that are most responsible for toxicity, which include neuroticism, how people regulate their negative emotions, conscientiousness. Ooh, that's DISC. That's DISC right there. How they get things done in the world, and agreeableness, how people interact and cooperate with others. The test, which was already taken over 1.1 million times since it was released this week, uncovers your key traits within these personality dimensions and correlates it with commonly loathed archetypes that exemplify the toxic traits. And as the site notes, the quiz is designed in a fun way to increase self awareness of potential difficult traits. Analyzing your traits in these 3 key areas of narcissism, agreeableness, and conscientiousness can help you understand what toxic behaviors you might be inflicting on the world, says CEO Molly, a former therapist with a master's in psychology. Self awareness is the first step. Besides being a fun test to take, we do hope it's a useful and perhaps even a cautionary tool for identifying these behaviors that those around you may find cancel worthy. Ooh, this test is going to explain everything. This test is going to explain why bitches on the internet simply can't handle me sometimes. I think I'm like the least scary person in the world. I don't understand it at all, but whatever. Okay. Owens is quick to stress that we all possess some of these traits. Yeah, true. We're all a little bit toxic sometimes. It's important to note that all personality traits are on a spectrum, and toxic behaviors result from taking a particular trait to its extreme. I'm really actually glad she noted that. That's an important point. I'll talk about that when we're looking at my DISC profile. Owens and her team have identified the 7 main types of toxic people found in society in this report. Okay, guys. So what I want you to do, what I want to challenge everyone to do is I'm going to read these different personality types, and I want you to kind of take note and make a prediction about if you think I am any of these personality types. Let's see what people have to say. All right, the first one, the Karen. Entitled people, also known as Karens, want special treatment and become aggressive. When it doesn't appear, the Karen archetype is the most related to the trait of agreeableness, or how well you get along with other people. People high in agreeableness value cooperation, humility, and putting their interests aside for the benefit of the group. Karens don't. Karens believe themselves to be more deserving than others and demand special treatment rather than going along with the crowd. Here's my issue with this personality type. I feel like this test is going to assume motivation. And you don't want to assume motivation. Like like the way they've written this, like it assumes a motivation that I don't think that they can actually accurately assess given a personality test. But hey, we'll check it out. We'll see. Justin White, every scary person thinks they are the least scary person in the world. My roommate, ENTP, and has no idea why he's intimidating. Oh, I know why I'm intimidating to people. I flat out know. And I'm going to talk. And that's why I wanted to show you my DISC profile before we did this, because I am extremely aware of why I'm intimidating to people. And it all comes down to my disc profile, and I'll tell you guys all about it in a second. But just because, like, again, like, I talked about this in my chat with Truman the other day, just because other people find me intimidating doesn't actually mean I'm doing anything wrong. And it doesn't mean I'm going to make an effort to change for them, because I mostly think that's other people's problem and not mine, to be really blunt. Um, all right, let's see. The mansplainer. Arrogant people. Can women be mansplainers? Arrogant people, otherwise known as mansplainers, believe themselves to be intellectually superior to others. The mansplainer brings us yet another manifestation of low agreeableness, this time with an extra helping of superiority. While more agreeable people believe themselves to be no better than anyone else, the mansplainer sees themselves firmly at the head of the pack when it comes to intelligence, wit, and knowledge. While they may believe themselves to be quite helpful, their help takes the form of boorish attempts to override others. The Drama Llama. Oh, I definitely could be a Drama Llama. Let's just be honest about that. Let's just be honest. I'm an INTJ on the MBTI, just so you guys know. But like, so with the MBTI, I'm saying that because I see people talking about the MBTI in the chat. So I'm an INTJ, but the thing about the MBTI is the T and the F, the thinking and the feeling attribute, they flip really easily. So this is why I don't use the MBTI for anything, because the thinking and the feeling attribute, they like, it's got like a 40 I think it's like a 40% test retest reliability, which means like if you take the test on Monday and then you take the same test on Wednesday, like 40% of the time you're going to get the same answer. So they flip really, really easily, which is why I've never used the MBTI. Also, I find the MBTI really hard to understand for most people and hard to retain because you have to memorize like 16 different types. The reason I use the disc, and again, I've never used the big five. It's just not something I've used, but I use the disc because you only have to memorize 4 things and it's much easier to understand. Um, but I'm an INTJ, technically. Maybe an INFJ if I'm in a different mood on the day I take the test. But the I, the N, and the J are pretty hard. The T and the F is a little fuzzy. The Drama Llama. Dramatic people, also known as drama llamas, demand outside attention to their volatile emotions. Oh, I know a drama llama. The drama llama archetype relates most closely to the big 5 trait of neuroticism, with the experience of negative emotions. When some high in neuroticism look for ways to manage anxiety, worry, or doubt, drama llamas dive right in, turning negative emotions into an art form. The slacker. I'm definitely not the slacker. I don't think I'm a slacker. Lazy people, also known as slackers, refuse to do their part and let others pick up the slack. The slacker archetype is a manifestation of low conscientiousness, the trait that describes how we manage ourselves and our goals. I don't know that I like this description of something that's opposite of conscientiousness. I'll explain why when we do the disc. Where those higher in conscientiousness may have ambitions and work hard to achieve them, the slacker works hard at only one thing, avoiding responsibility. Slackers rarely set goals or think long term, preferring to bounce from one experience to the other. The con artist. Manipulative people known as con artists use deception and dishonesty to get ahead. Like the Karen, con artists are low in agreeableness, but rather than lacking humility, they lack another key component of this personality dimension: honesty. Rather than being transparent and fair in their dealings with others, they work every situation to their advantage. Notorious grifters. Oh God, the New York Post is writing about grifters. Oh my God, I hate that word so much. Notorious grifters like Bernie Madoff and Theranos CEO Elizabeth Holmes fit this type, but not every con artist is a criminal mastermind. This could just be the coworker who always finds a way to weasel their way to the top. The Debbie Downer. Negative people, also known as Debbie Downers, drag others down with their relentless pessimism. The Debbie Downer manifests, Debbie Downers drive me goddamn crazy, by the way. Like, people can have bad days. They can have bad days. You're allowed to have a bad day or a bad moment or any of these things. But people who are like constantly like in a bad mood or constantly pessimistic, they drive me effing crazy. And I'll explain why when we look at my disc. The Debbie Downer manifests high neuroticism with a focus on pessimism and a defeatist attitude. Yes, it's the defeatist attitude that I cannot stand the most. Well, Debbies may not be as outwardly emotional as Drama Llamas. Their high neuroticism takes the form of a black cloud hanging over everything they do. And lastly, we have the control freak. Rigid people, also known as control freaks, try to impose their inflexible ideas about right and wrong. While the slacker shows us what happens when conscientiousness is absent, the control freak exemplifies conscientiousness run amok. That's true. Control freaks have gone all in when it comes to setting goals and persisting with their plans to the point that they are completely unable to process alternate ideas or changes in priorities. Control freaks live in fear that other people will drop the ball on their carefully orchestrated plans and work overtime to try to ensure that everything turns out the way they want it to. All right, guys, so do you think I'm any of these toxic personalities? If you had to take a guess, which one might you think I be? I'd love to. No one's going to get in trouble. I don't really care. If you think I'm one of these toxic personalities, please chat it in right now. Let's see what you guys have to say. I promise I won't block you or anything as long as you're not a dick. But if you just answer the question, that's okay. Okay, from my high horse thinks I might be a Karen. All right. Bravery, man, bravery. This is like the first. You get the first one, man. Like I gotta say, it takes balls to tell someone on a live chat that they might be a Karen. Maybe the Drama Llama. Yeah, maybe. I don't actually think not in real life. I do. Well, it's funny. So people might think I like drama more than I do. It's more that I feel like on a spiritual level, I think it's important to stand your ground and put your stake in the ground, but I don't always like drama. Sometimes I like drama. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do. Kieran, answer. Man up and answer. Like a little drama is okay. A lot of drama honestly gets aggravating and grates on me after a while. Control freaks, some people are saying. All right. So the next thing I want to do, and listen, I think of all of these, I think based on how they described it, it is entirely possible that I could be a Karen based on how they've described it. And that's well, actually, hang on. This has to do with agreeableness. I actually do have a reasonably okay level of agreeableness, so I might take that back. Mansplainer. Yeah, I think actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the Drama Llama people may actually be correct. That actually might be the one that I'm closest to based on how I understand their explanations to be here. Oh, okay. All right. So the next thing I want to do is I want to show you guys my disc profile. So the disc profile is what I use when I'm doing workplace style assessments. And this is like the last time I took the disc profile was in 2016. So this is a little bit older, but your disc profile honestly doesn't usually really change. Maybe I should update my disc profile live. I wonder how many of you have taken the disc profile in the chat, and do you know what your disc profile is if you take it? Because this is a really popular assessment. So like if you've taken your disc profile in the chat in what your disc profile is. So the basic tenets of disc, I'll just explain them right here. There are 4 main disc types, right? We have dominance, we have influence, we have steadiness, and we have conscientiousness. Now, the New York Post article kind of said this, but like everyone has all 4 attributes, right? Everyone actually has all 4 of these attributes in your personality. How I generally explain this is like what the disc assessment will tell you is which one or 2 of these attributes you tend to default to when you're not trying to push outside your comfort zone. So every single person has one primary disc style. About 66% of people, 2/3 of people have a dominant and a secondary style that they might default to. Okay. So here, and how I like to explain it is like, think about the shirts you have hanging up in your closet. So you have black shirts, you have blue shirts, you have green shirts, you have pink shirts. You may have that Hawaiian shirt that you pull out for special occasions or for the cruise or things like that. We have all these different shirts in our closet. But like I default, you guys notice most of the time I wear black or like darker colors. I'm wearing a gray today because I'm wearing a free speech t-shirt that a fan sent me, which is awesome. But like most of the time, I wear black shirts or darker colors. That's because I'm more comfortable in them. It's just what I prefer. It's just what I like. I have like 18 of the same black t shirt and I just interchange them. And some of them have v necks and some of them have crew necks just to switch it up. But it's essentially the same black effing t shirt. I have so many black t shirts that you guys would like. It's just it is actually disgusting how many black t-shirts I own. All right. So like that's the color I default to. I don't tend to wear the pink ones or the green ones or the blue ones or the red ones or the Hawaiian shirt ones. But all of those shirts are there in my closet if I need them, right? And it's kind of the same is true with disc. Let me see if I can make it a little bit larger. I'm sure I can, but I can only make it so that's about as high as I can go because it's as much as it's going to fit on my screen. But you don't need to see it. I'm going to explain it. So the same is true with disc. Like there are two styles. Like I have a primary and a secondary style that I just tend to use more of. But that's not to say that I can't use the other styles. It's just going to take more energy for me to use those styles. So my primary and secondary style, we can see right here, I am right on the line with the D and the DI. Okay, so my style is DI. What that means is that my dominant trait is dominance. It is I am the big D, just like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is definitely a high D. But also like I have this influencer style as well. An influencer is like the salesperson, the people person. This is why some people find me to be a bitch and some people actually like really enjoy me because I do have these two different sides of me. Like the dominant style is like down to business, man. Like we can even look in this and see the dominant style is direct, results oriented, firm, strong willed, and forceful. The influencer style is outgoing, enthusiastic, optimistic, high spirited, and lively, right? So these top two styles, they tend to work at a very fast pace. They tend to like to get stuff done. They like to keep moving. They like to keep momentum. All that's true. But sometimes I'm going to default more to the dominant style, which is going to be more strong willed and forceful. And sometimes I'm going to default more to the influencer style, which is like lively and high spirited and things like that. Now, that can be why. So, when people think of toxic workplace styles or toxic styles in general, generally you're going to have them be in this dominant or conscientious area. So let me go down a little bit further in the chart. So you can see, here's a little bit more information about my style. So everyone who takes the disc profile is going to have at least 3 priorities that come out. So we can see my priorities are, actually, I'll even make this a little bit bigger so you guys can see. My 3 priorities, according to the disc profile, are results, action, and enthusiasm. But you'll see I have a little shaded area over here. And that's into challenge. And generally speaking, people who have a high challenge score are really difficult people sometimes to be around. And the high challenge score has to do with comfortability with conflict. So, comfortability with conflict, generally speaking, people are going to have one of two reactions to dealing with interpersonal conflict. About 50% of those people are going to want to dive under the table and hide. Anytime there's any interpersonal conflict or anything going on, 50% of people are going to want to dive under the table and hide because they hate it, they can't deal with it, all this stuff. Okay? I am not one of those people. I am not. I love conflict. I love competition. It revs me up. I get excited by it. Like it activates all the pleasure centers of my brain. And that's why I generally have a higher challenge score. Now, every single attribute, and actually the New York Post article says this, every single attribute of someone's personality can be used for good or for evil. So it is not a bad thing to have a high challenge score. People with a high challenge scores are generally going to take on bigger obstacles. They're not going to be afraid to take on big tasks. They're going to thrive on competition. They're not going to let other people beat them. Whereas people with lower challenge scores, if you've got a big task like people with low challenge scores are more likely to choke in competition. Okay, they're much more likely to choke because it doesn't drive them. But I have a high challenge score, and that oftentimes is what comes out when people have interpersonal conflict with me. Honestly, it usually tends to be that I'm having a challenge with someone who either has a very low challenge score or someone who has a very high challenge score. Now, why might someone with a high challenge score have interpersonal conflict with another person with a high challenge score. Because they're going like this. They're going like this. They're butting heads. That's what it was. Nat D says I was harsh on Helen Pluckrose. Helen Pluckrose insulted me in the worst possible way that anyone can insult me. So if Helen wants to apologize, I will be glad to say, hey, maybe I was a little harsh on you, Helen, but Helen Pluckrose insulted me in the worst possible way that any living human being can insult me. And I'm pretty sure she didn't even realize she did it. So she wants to apologize. I'm open to mending that relationship anytime she likes, but she's going to fucking apologize because what she said to me was beyond anything that I'm willing to fucking deal with. All right. And if you want to know more about that, I made a whole video about it. So that tends to be, and again, that's actually a really good example because I believe that Helen actually has a very low challenge score. I think that Helen can sometimes, and I used to watch her interactions with like the gender critical people where because she's really not comfortable with challenge, like it manifests in a really like in not a productive way, to be really blunt about it. And I think that's actually a manifestation of her having a low challenge score. What did I just say? The people that I'm going to have the hardest time with are people with really low challenge scores or really high challenge scores. Helen does not have a high challenge score. I will tell you that right now. No, Justin, I don't think Helen is a C. I think Helen is more of an S. I think Helen may have C in her, but I see Helen more around here. Around the like maybe like a CS, but definitely more S than C. Helen does not have a high challenge score. I would bet all the money in my bank account on that. All the money in my bank account. She owes me a fucking apology. And that's my final word on that. But listen, so let's take another person I'm asked about all the time, Tim effing Poole. So Tim Poole, I would bet you all the money in my bank account. If he were to take the disc profile, he would have a high challenge score. He's probably going to be more in this conscientiousness area, but I think he's really he's either a DC or a CD. He's a combination of these two personality types. You want to know why Tim Poole and I will probably never get along? We both have high challenge scores. That's just it. Like, it's just not a good match, guys. It's just not a good match. And again, it's not a bad thing. Like for him, it's like, that's probably what's driven him to be so successful. That's what drove him to do 6 fucking videos a day. And then on top of that, do his live show at night. Like, that is insane. Guys, like, that is insane. Also, Tim Poole really likes to be like the smartest person in the room. And a lot of times he probably is. That's a conscientiousness thing. People who and dominance, they don't like, okay, so dominant always likes to be like the leader in the room. Conscientiousness likes to be the smartest person in the room. Okay. And so and it's also like it's a very black and white thing with people who have the conscientious. I should do a whole series where I just analyze the disc profiles of like influencers and content creators. Oh, I love that. Guys, I've read so many of these disc profiles before. I've read thousands and thousands and thousands of these disc profiles and have analyzed them for people and organizations. I love doing this sort of stuff. I should totally do a series where I analyze what I think the disc profiles of content creators are. But Tim Poole is definitely going to be a combination of D and C because he has those leadership attributes. He also has the conscientiousness attributes. He likes to be right. It is very black and white for him. And I think he probably has a very high challenge score, just like me, which is why it would never work, guys. I'm sorry I'm sorry for everyone that wants to see me on that show, but that's probably never going to happen for this exact reason. All right. So that is my disc profile. And that is why I absolutely believe I totally understand why there are people out there that find me to be a challenging personality to work with because I have this high challenge score. Again, people who have low challenge scores or people who have very high challenge scores are going to butt heads with me in some way. They just are. I'm going to make them feel uncomfortable. Now, if they did the disc profile and they learned about what their challenge scores were and how they're going to interact with people who have other types of profiles, they might be able to mitigate that, right? And that's all about pushing outside your comfort zone. You see, like in this chart, what I always used to tell people to do is the reason you want to understand your disc profile is that you want to be able to understand where you naturally are, the things that you're going to do without thinking about them. And guys, if you want to try out the disc profile, I sell these. I still do. I still technically do disc profiles. I haven't done a whole lot of them lately just because I haven't been doing a lot of this type of work lately. I've been doing mostly coaching, but like I do these things, so we can totally do them if you guys want to do them. But like this is your comfort zone. This color area right here is your comfort zone. The things you do without thinking about it, the things you do when you're tired, the things you do when you're on default, the things you do when you're busy and you're stressed out and you're just not thinking about it. The white area is outside of your comfort zone. These are the things that are going to require more energy. These are the things that are going to require more focus. These are the things that like they're just going to like it's kind of like an introvert going to a networking event. Like an introvert can go to a networking event, but they're going to need a nap afterwards. It's going to take everything out of them. Like being social is not something they're just naturally good at. Same thing with this. Yeah, I see Reagan saying I took a free one, but this looks more comprehensive. Free disc profiles suck. They suck. They're not good. Like they're not accurate. And that's why I've always used this one because yeah, it's more expensive. This one costs about $100 to take, but you get like a 20-page report. It's extremely accurate. They're always refining the test, so they're always making changes to it to make it even more and more accurate. This test actually is an adaptive test, so what it does is it's going to ask you a lot of tiebreaker questions. It's going to ask you the same question in different ways to really make sure it understands how you're going to behave. And if you're giving mixed answers, it's going to keep asking you tiebreaker questions until you break the tie, essentially. So it tends to be freakishly accurate. Freakishly accurate. And that's why it's my favorite one to use because it's like I cannot even tell you like so there's a whole part and this is not a sales pitch guys, but like I love this type of work. This is one of the pieces of my job as an organizational psychologist I'm really effing good at. Is like reading disc profiles. But they have this whole section that tells you all about yourself and it's usually like the most freakishly accurate part of the profile. I can count on like one hand. I've done thousands of these, right? I can count on one hand the amount of people that have said, Carlin, that disc profile sucks and didn't describe me at all. Really. And usually those people are lying. They just don't want to admit what the profile tells them. So that's the disc profile. Adrian says, can you drop a link for that in locals? Yeah, I mean, I don't have a great link for it right now because I usually just do them by request. But like I can put something together. It's not a big deal. Yeah, we can definitely do that. No, we're not sticking to palm readings. Palm readings have their place as well. Obviously, I have a psychic on this channel every Tuesday night. All right, you guys ready for me to take the test? You guys want to see me take the toxic personality test now that we've done some pre-work? All right, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. All right. I don't know what Jordan Peterson's personality course is, but if it's $10, it's probably not really accurate. And let me tell you why. Because the reason that that profile costs so much is A, you're getting that much in value, but B, it's also more accurate because what that money goes towards is a team of researchers who are constantly iterating the test to make it more accurate. So there's a whole research team that goes behind it. So a $10 course, I'm sorry, I don't think it's going to be the most accurate thing in the world because you get what you pay for. And with personality tests, it's just the way it is, guys. The more expensive ones tends to be more accurate. I understand that everyone wants a freebie, but it's just the reality of how these things work. If you want it to be accurate, you need to pay for the research to put into it to make it more accurate. All right, let's do this personality test thing. And thank you, Megan Cox, for the sticker. I'm not sure I said thank you for that, but I do appreciate it. All right, let's see. And I'm just going to walk you guys through my answers as we go. It is simply a fact that I'm smarter than the average person. I mean, I think there are lots of levels of intelligence, and I think that I'm very smart about some things. I also think I'm very smart about, I'm very dumb about some things, and I think that that's true for everyone. So no, I mean, I don't think that that's, I'm going to go neutral on that one. Like, I really don't have an opinion on it. Like, I don't think it's possible to like, there are different types of intelligence. You know what I'm saying? People who want to get close to me need to understand that I have strong emotions and I must be true to myself. Yes, accurate. Accurate. When I feel passionate about something, I'm not giving up on it. I think that that's pretty clear. And authenticity is basically the most important thing to me right now. And I will, you know, like, I would not be able to exist in an environment at this present moment where I'm not able to be myself and be authentic. I've had too much authenticity in the last year and a half, and I'm not giving it up. I've had a taste of it. I like it. I'm not giving it up. I do not like to be treated like one of the crowd. That's not accurate. No, that's actually there are actually times I won't say it's like completely inaccurate because sometimes I think you need to stand out in the crowd, but like the reality is for me is like there are times when I like nothing more than to blend in to the crowd. Like and that's honestly mostly where I'm at. Like especially when I'm traveling or something, like I love blending in with the crowd. I love just going out by myself and being left alone and like being able to do my thing. I don't really like being the center of attention. I won't like say it's completely inaccurate, but that's not accurate. Most people spend too much time and energy trying to achieve goals that don't really matter. Yeah, I agree with that. In fact, I would say that I wouldn't say go like all the way, but like I definitely agree with that. And I think that, even worse than trying to achieve goals that don't matter, I think a lot of times people exert energy not even knowing or understanding what they're trying to achieve. I think most of the time people do not have a goal in mind. And that's actually the most detrimental thing because you have to know where you're going. Like, would you set out on a road? Well, I guess like a road trip, I guess you could set out and say, I'm just going to drive around, but you're not going to get anywhere. Like, you're not going to, if I have a mission to go to Los Angeles and I say, I'm going to drive to Los Angeles without a map, I'm probably going to get lost, right? You have to have a goal. And I just don't think a lot of people have goals. Stealth Creation says, not that this was the biggest event to occur, but what are your thoughts on audits in blue states like Washington? I'm trying to spread it far. I don't have thoughts on the audits, man. I'm sorry. I'm just not paying attention to it. It's just not like, and I'm not saying it's not a worthy thing to pay attention to. It's just like I have to have some sort of focus and like critical race theory and the woke is my focus. And I do hope people are focused on the audits. It's just not where my focus is going to be at. Oh God, Adam, we're taking a toxic personality test. I'm finding out if I had a toxic personality. I'm letting the internet tell me if I have a toxic personality. Nothing can go wrong with this plan. I promise to be done by the time your show starts. Mouth the like button for Adam, please. Everyone lies. I'm just better at it than most. Oh my God. I actually think that I'm like a horrible liar. I think I'm a horrible liar. I oftentimes just like I just don't do it. Like even ask Joshua, like lying to me, Joshua and I have had extensive conversations about this. Like lying to me is like one of the worst possible things that someone can do, to be honest. And so I just don't do it. Like as a general rule, I don't lie. So I'm gonna go completely inaccurate. Like I think lying requires you to remember the lie, right? And then when you build lie on top of lie on top of lie, you have to remember like 18 different lies by the time you're done. And it's just like, I don't have time for that, man. And I just don't care enough. I just don't care enough. The best way to avoid being disappointed is to expect the worst. No, no, inaccurate. No. The best way to avoid being disappointed is to not have any expectation at all. That is the best way to avoid being disappointed. It is to not have any expectation at all. Because anytime we're disappointed, there is a distinction between what we expect to happen and what actually happens. That is what creates disappointment. So if you don't have any expectation at all and you're just enjoying the process and you're enjoying the experience of whatever you're doing, but you're not like I have to have that outcome. Like take for example, like let's talk about gymnastics. Cause like I'm kind of like a gymnastics nerd. I know that seems weird, but I really am. And like so look at the US team, the US women's team. Everyone's like, they have to get gold, they have to get gold, and everyone's so disappointed when they got a silver medal. They got a freaking Olympic silver medal. They have an Olympic silver medal. That's not a disappointment. The only reason it seems like a disappointment is because there is a like it's one step down from gold. Okay? Everyone expected them to get gold. They got an Olympic silver medal and everyone was disappointed. Just don't have the expectation and enjoy the process and enjoy the experience of getting to wherever you're going and don't have an expectation of what's going to happen when you get there. Adam, I can't wait to be back on the show. Lots of people have been asking about it. Of course, whenever you're ready, you just let me know, my friend. But can't wait. All right. I often have to push people to do things in a way that meets my high standards. See, I don't consider it pushing people to meet my high standards. I consider it pushing people, and this is like I'm thinking about this within the context of coaching. I'm thinking about like pushing people to meet the standards that they themselves want to meet. So like if I'm trying to coach someone, and coaching can come in many different forms, and honestly, like when I'm really pushing people like to speak out or to do things, like my thought process behind it is not that I'm pushing them to meet my high standards, but I'm pushing them to meet the standards that they themselves want to achieve, but they might be afraid of that. So no, I cannot answer that I agree with this, because I do push people to do things better, but I don't do it to meet my high standards. If they don't meet my standards, like they haven't let me down at all. Like that's not that, like I think they've let themselves down. I think they could do better, but it's no skin off my back really if they don't meet my standards. It's more so that like I want them to meet their standards. So I'm going to go neutral on this because I just don't think it's framed in an accurate way. I am most often frustrated with other people when they don't make effort to give me the special treatment I deserve. No. I don't think I deserve special treatment. I want to be I want to be treated like everyone else. Like, it's funny. I actually had a conversation with a guy in the Mises Caucus tent at Porkfest, cuz Porkfest was like the first event that I'd been to in over a year in which I wasn't treated like because most events I go to, like I'm a speaker or any of these things, and like it was different at Porkfest because like no one was treating me any sort of special way, and I thought it was awesome. And I had a whole conversation. I was like, this was the most refreshing thing ever because I was just treated like a normal effing person. Don't pay attention when I'm sharing my knowledge. I mean, whether or not you pay attention when I'm sharing my knowledge, like I don't measure success based on whether or not I think you're paying attention. Like I measure success based on, am I happy that am I happy with what I shared? And then if people have played along with that or if they've listened, that's great. But like my metric of success is, am I happy with what I shared? Not, did people pay attention to what I was saying? It's more about my personal satisfaction than anything else. Don't follow the correct procedures for things. That's in contention for things that I get annoyed with people about, or aren't there to support me when oh no, this is it. I am most upset about this. Yes, I am most upset about this. I'm most upset. I am often most frustrated with other people when they aren't there to support me when I'm upset about something. Yes. And the reason I would say that is that I am particularly frustrated with people that do that when I've been there to support them, or when I've held out a helping hand for them, and then like I'm getting canceled or something and just like no one's effing there. That really does frustrate me, and it makes me really sad, to be honest. Can I select more than one? No. Okay, good. That's definitely the one I get most frustrated with people. That one right there. I am most likely to speak up about something when I know a better way of doing things than what is being discussed. Yeah, I'm very likely to speak up then. That's the dominant style coming through. See a downside or problem no one recognizes. Yep, I'm likely to speak up then. Want to influence the conversation to give myself an advantage. I mean, sometimes, but not, that wouldn't be the first one I would choose. Having an emotional reaction to the conversation. This is not an accurate test. This, I'm going to tell you guys right now. I do not believe in. I'm on board with Scott Adams. I don't believe in the accuracy of this test, just based on how they're framing the questions. We're still going to finish it. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's a very accurate. Like you can't ask someone like, if like to point out that they're having an overtly like almost irrational negative emotional reaction to something. It just doesn't work like that. No one's gonna select that. But okay, am I most likely to speak up about things when I know a better way of doing things or see a downside or problem no one recognizes? It's gonna be between those two. Um, I'm gonna go with know a better way of doing things than what is being discussed, as just slightly more likely than see a downside or problem no one else recognizes. I prefer to be around people who give me the recognition and attention I deserve. No. Are eager to learn from my knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be around those people. Are easily led where I want them to go. No. Don't hassle me with demands or expectations. Oh, God, that last one. That last one is so appealing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to choose the last one. Listen, I do like to be around people who are eager to learn from my knowledge or wisdom. Like that's really fun. Like like I teach, right? So it's like when I'm doing workshops or things, it is really nice to be around people who want to be in that workshop, who are excited about the material, who are engaged, who ask questions. Like that's invigorating. It's so fun. But I got to be honest, don't hassle me with their demands and expectations. Like ultimately won simply because in the environment that I'm in, I'm around so many people who hassle me with their demands and expectations, and I don't necessarily always mind it. And I think like this is just a natural part of doing what I'm doing right now is like people are going to want something, and I understand that, but it's also just like it's so nice to be around people who are just like treating you like a normal human being and just like are chill and don't have demands and don't want anything from you and don't want you to do anything for them. It's so nice. So yes, that's what I'm going to choose. I am most likely to try to be helpful by pointing out the flaws and pitfalls in other people's plans sometimes. Showing, and by the way, like if I point out flaws and pitfalls in other people's plans, it's because I want you to be successful. It's because like I care. I If I care enough to point out a flaw or pitfall in your plan, it's because I want you to be successful. If I don't want you to be successful, I'm not even going to effing bother. I'm not gonna bother. Like why? But if I'm giving you feedback, it's because I want to see you be successful. Take it or not, like I don't really care about that, but showing people the correct way to do things if they ask me, but generally no. Letting people it's yes. 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 That's the one. I already know. I don't We're going to read the fourth one. But okay, taking charge and being a knowledge leader. Yeah, sure, sometimes I can take charge, but listen, I really do think this is like not even close. I am most likely to try to be helpful by letting people know it's okay to lighten up and not take things so seriously because I think again, this is a matter of like I don't believe you should have expectations of an outcome. I believe that the number one thing you should try to do is enjoy the process. Enjoy what you're doing. Have fun with what you're doing regardless of if that's an arduous task or not. I think you should have fun with it. Life should be fun, right? And so I also think by the way that people will be more successful and produce a better output if they have fun and they don't take it so seriously and they don't put these demands on themselves and then they don't bring themselves down or put so much pressure on themselves that they weigh themselves down. Like approach tasks with a lightness and you're going to have more fun doing it and you're probably going to get a better result. This is fun. And I'm enjoying. Are you guys enjoying some of these different perspectives? Because these are things. So my first book. Oh, look, I have it right here. I promise I didn't plan this. My first book is called Zen Your Work. And basically, I'm getting to talk about a lot of the ideas that I wrote about in Zen Your Work right now. And I didn't expect that. And I'm really enjoying it. I should do a Zen Your Work workshop. I have a whole GD 12 module curriculum built out for that. I should do more with that. It's most important to me to get what I am owed in life. Um, I mean, I believe that's just naturally gonna happen if I'm honest. Like, I believe like when we give value to the universe, we get value in return. So I don't think that I don't believe that getting what I am owed is something that I have to force. I don't think it's something I need to like beating down the doors of. I think it just naturally happens. Now, of course, you guys know there are times when I'm like annoyed that people take credit for my work. Matt Walsh, fuck that guy. But like, ultimately, what I really think is that the universe is going to sort all that out. I think that when we put valuable things out there, we're going to get value in return, whether that be money or attention or what have you. So I'm generally not like worried about getting what I'm owed because I'm like Karma's gonna take care of that, man. I just don't have to worry about it. It's most important to me to be true to myself and show others who I really am. Yes. Yes. If we come up with a better one, I'll change it. But that is, we talked about this. Authenticity is the most important thing to me. It is definitely not important to me to follow the rules and do things properly. I'll tell you that right now. Oh God, or enjoy life as it comes. F. I'm going to stick with be true to myself and show others who I really am. I think that that is what I'm supposed to do in this lifetime, is to express my emotions on the world stage. It's not always the most convenient of missions, but I do think that that is spiritually what I'm supposed to do in this lifetime. That's the lesson that I'm trying to learn, the challenge I'm trying to overcome. And by the way, guys, everyone has, like, I believe strongly that everyone has different things they're here to do. None of those things are better or worse than another. That's just mine. And that's not to say that yours is any more or less important or special or any of those things. When a difficult problem arises, I usually am not surprised. Whatever can go wrong usually will. No, that is a horrible attitude to have. This is a like, if you have the attitude that whatever can go wrong usually will go wrong, that is a horrible attitude to have, and you should stop it right now, because human beings are great for self-fulfill creating they're great at creating self-fulfilling prophecies. If you are anticipating that something is going to go horribly wrong, guess what? It is probably going to go horribly wrong. Don't anticipate that stuff. Figure out a way to work a situation so that I come out on top? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna check that one for right now. Maybe I'll change it when I get to the other two. But yeah, I mean, I generally think that when we have a problem or a challenge or anything else, like, things can always be looked at from multiple different perspectives, right? So you can look at a problem and say, how can I use this to my advantage? How can I approach this problem or this reality in a way that is going to be most advantageous for me and what I want in the world? So yeah, probably that one for right this second. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do like letting other people handle it. Like, if there's a problem and I could let other people handle that problem, that is probably what I'm going to do. Um, but probably figuring out a way to come out on top is usually better. And then get very upset and need lots of self-care to get back on track. No. That is not me. That is not me for sure. I do not usually, like, sometimes I get upset. I'm like a human being like anyone else, but um I generally don't need that. No. Justin White says skydivers tell you that if there is a lone tree in a field and you worry about hitting the tree, you are guaranteed to hit the tree. Yeah, that's exactly right, because we are worried about creating self-fulfilling prophecies. If I had one bit of advice for other people, it would be raise your expectation. The world owes you more. Um, I actually don't think that that's a bad bit of advice. I'm going to tell you why. We will only ever achieve the things that we feel we are owed, or the things that we feel that are available to us. So I would love nothing more than if every human being out there had egregiously high expectations about what they are owed in life. Like, if you have egregiously high expectations about what you are owed in life, that is going to make it possible for you to achieve more. It just is. Like, so it doesn't matter if it's realistic or not. Like, I would love for everyone to have extraordinarily high expectations. Now, I don't think that that's how they're framing it in this case, but that's what I'm going to pick for right now, because I definitely do agree with that one. Trust nobody. Everyone is looking out for number one. Um, I think that the more that we I don't necessarily think that you should trust everyone, and I think it's important to be discerning about who you trust, but I also don't think it's necessarily helpful for you to look at the world and think that everyone is only out for themselves, because there are so many people in the world who will help you. There are so many people in the world who will have your back. There are so many people in the world that will be there for you when you're down. Like, trusting no one is just going to put a wall up between you and those people. Okay? So I don't like that advice. Be realistic. Life is full of failure and tragedy. I mean, I think again, like contrasting that with number 1, being realistic is a great way to sell yourself short. Being realistic, like say about oh god. Okay. So like I don't know. Like say some kid wants to be in the NBA or something like that, and and at 10 years old they're told you're never going to be in the NBA. You need to be more realistic. Well, you just sold that kid short. If that kid at 10 years old, when they could still be in a place to practice and to work hard and to, have a can-do attitude and to really go for a really big goal, if that kid is told when he's 10 years old, be realistic, life is hard, life is not fair, you're never going to get ahead, that kid's going to be much less likely to do it. So I think it's horrible advice to tell people to be realistic. I think you should have great expectations for yourself. Don't try to reinvent the real wheel. Rules are there for a reason. No. Rules are there usually because some anal son of a bitch put a process in place to make themselves more comfortable, not necessarily that something needed to be done that way, but just because someone was being horribly, horribly anal. So, yes, that's going to be raise your expectation. The world owes you more. The world owes you everything that you want. Go into things with that mindset, and you're more likely to achieve what you want and get your goals. It's like this is a total like shoot for the moon, land in the stars scenario. Like you might not hit the moon, but you'll get pretty close, and that sometimes is good enough. All right, this is fun. This is a fun quiz. Most people would benefit by hearing my thoughts and opinions. Almost accurate. I mean, and I have to think that, right? Like I just finished my second book. Like if I didn't think that people would benefit from hearing my thoughts and opinions, then why would I write a book? Why would I write 2 books? Writing books sucks. Writing books is hard. It takes up all your time, it takes up all your mental bandwidth. Like why would I even do that if I didn't think it was valuable for people to hear my thoughts and opinions? I just keep them to myself. My life has been difficult and emotionally challenging. Um, yes, but I think everyone's life on some level is difficult and emotionally challenging. I'm not going to go all the way with it. I mean, I've probably had a more normal life than like most people, but that doesn't mean it hasn't had its challenges. I have earned the right to be treated with more care and consideration than the average person. No. No, I think that's completely inaccurate, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I think that every person deserves to be treated with basic like dignity and consideration. I've said this a million times, particularly when it comes to talking about the trans stuff. Every single person should be treated with courtesy and consideration, or like just like basic respect and courtesy. And I don't think that I am entitled to any more care or consideration than anyone else. I think that everyone's entitled to the same. Other people are often more motivated than I am, and so I'm happy to let them do more work. No, I don't think that that's accurate. I'm not going to go full board inaccurate, but first of all, when I'm focused on something, I don't think anyone's more motivated than me, but I have to be focused on that thing. If it's just not like the audit example, someone asked about the audits earlier. Like the audits are not something I'm focused on. It's just not. And that's not to say it's not a worthy cause. That's not to say that I'm not very grateful for people doing the audit stuff, but it's not something I'm focused on. So in that area, I am more than happy for other people to do the work on that, right? It's just not something I'm going to do. Um but I also think like if I'm focused on something, I'm more than happy to do the work for it. I don't mind. Most people are selfish, so it's better to look out for yourself than try to cooperate. Well, I do believe that most people are selfish. And why shouldn't we be? Like we should always be trying to make sure we're taking care of our own internal needs and interests. I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. Um but I also think there's value to looking out for other people and for being there to other people. So I'm gonna go slightly inaccurate on that one. I agree with the initial statement. If it had just said most people are selfish, I would agree, but I do not agree with their follow up really at all. People call me a pessimist. I'm just realistic. No, actually, shockingly few for as many people as call me like toxic, like shockingly few people actually call me a pessimist. So that's not something I have much experience, at least not to my face. Maybe they're doing it online, but they're not saying it to my face. And that's all I can really judge. It takes a lot of work to make sure things are done correctly, but it's worth it. Honestly, like I'm going to go neutral on that and I'm going to tell you why. Because I am a person that believes that perfection should not get in the way of good enough. Good enough sometimes is just fine. A lot of times, good enough is just fine. We don't always need to give perfection. Sometimes we can just go good enough. All right, last page. Ugh. I'm going to decline to state all these things. You guys ready for the results? I'm the Drama Llama! I am the Drama Llama! We knew I was the Drama Llama! Hey man, I'll take it. I'll take it. Let's see. Oh my god, I got an 11 on dramatic. Let's see. Okay. I'm a Drama Llama. My toxicity level is somewhere between the former theater kid who peaked in high school and Snooki during her prime Jersey Shore's year. I am the main character. That's okay. No, I already don't agree with this because the questions around me being the main character are the ones that I actually ranked the lowest. You probably think of yourself as deeper and more unique than most people. No, wrong. But you're actually just sort of annoying. I'll take sort of annoying, sure. No, this is completely inaccurate. I'm sorry, I don't agree with this. This doesn't even align with how I answered the test. You guys saw me take the test and walk through these things. This literally doesn't even align with what I said when I was answering the test. You need constant positive attention and don't take constructive criticism well. Oh god, my haters are going to love that one. Your most annoying habits are long social media rants. True. True. That is true. And constantly living your life as your cast member, the Real Housewives. Dramatic, emotional, and manipulative Drama Llamas tend to score high in the Big Five trait of a neuroticism or the experience of negative emotions. But Drama Llamas go one step further than experiencing anxiety and doubt. They turn it into an art form, darling. It's not all bad. Self-awareness is the first step. Okay, let's see what it says, though. Like, dramatic. What is about dramatic people demand outside? Again, I don't think this aligns with how I answered the damn quiz. Can I go back? Hang on. Does it have my answers? Yeah. So let's just see. I don't think that this aligns with how I answered the quiz. I don't like to be treated as, oh, you know why? Fuck. I answered that wrong. I answered that one wrong. That should have been, I answered it wrong. That's why I'm changing my answer because I answered it effing wrong. I'm sorry. I answered it wrong. I didn't understand the scale. So I don't like to be part of the crowd. I said that was inaccurate, where that's actually an accurate statement. It's like, I don't like to stand out in the crowd. I'm changing my answer. I answered it wrong. That was my fault. That was my lack of conscientiousness right there. That was my lack of detail orientation. Let's see. Oh god, now I have to answer them all again. Fuck. Okay. Hang on. That one. No, I answered that one. No, that one is what I answered. Most likely to be helpful by. I'm gonna see if this changes my answers, guys. I'm gonna answer everything the same, but by this one, right? No. Oh no, that one. It's most important to me to enjoy life as it comes, be true to myself. When a difficult problem arises, I usually figure out a way to work it to my advantage. If I had one bit of advice for other people, it would be raise your expectations. Oh god, I don't remember my things for these. Most people would benefit from hearing my thoughts. I think I answered that. My life has been yes, I think I answered that. I've earned the right to be no, I said no. Other people are more motivated than I am. I think I said that. Most people are selfish. I think I said that. No one calls me a pessimist. It takes a lot of hard work to make sure things are done correctly, but it's worth it. No. Decline to stake, get my results. Astrogazer says, I feel like I'm getting free. I'm still the Drama Llama. Okay. May I ask if you ever take requests for private psychology sessions? Yeah, I do. I do coaching. But I'm not a therapist, and you should understand the difference. Like, I am not a clinician. I am not a therapist. I am a coach. But if you want to reach out to me, drcarlin.com. The information is in the description below, and we can talk about what you're trying to do. Oh, it's the same. Nothing changed. I still don't agree with this, though. I don't agree that I'm lazy either. But at least entitled was low. Manipulative is a 3. That's really low. Rigid is 3. I just don't agree. I don't agree with that. But listen, if I have to be something, I'll take Drama Llama. I enjoy a little bit of drama. Dramatic people, also known as Drama Llamas, demand outside attention to their volatile emotions. I mean, if I had to be any of them, I guess I'll stick with that one. I don't really care. But at least I'm not a Karen. Excuse me, and I'm not a mansplainer. And those were actually the two that I was worried about. I didn't think I was going to get called the slacker. I didn't think I was going to get called the Debbie Downer. Con artist, I was a little bit worried about, to be honest, just because like I know some of the like low. I can score low in agreeableness, and I didn't want to be called that. So I think like if that's the one that I had to be, like if I had to be assigned one, I don't know. Can you even take this test? Can you even take this test and not turn out to be one of them? Because if you have to turn out to be one of these things, like has anyone taken this test and gotten like you have no negative traits? Because I think how they're doing this test is I think you have to land on one of them. And if that's the case, like I'll land on Drama Llama. Sherry, I answered this earlier. My Myers-Briggs is an INTJ. But the T and the F function can sometimes switch really easily, so it might be INFJ just depending on like the day. But INTJ generally. Yeah, so if I had to land on one of them, it would definitely be drama. Okay, I'm fine with that. So there you go, all the haters. I'm a Drama Llama. And I don't really care. Sorry. All right, guys. Anything else for today before we sign off? Anything else you guys want to know? I gotta go get some food. I don't think I've eaten all day. I haven't eaten all day. I'm dying. I was thinking about going to the gym today, and now it's 6 o'clock, and I remembered that I haven't eaten all day. I told Joshua I was gonna go to the gym too. F. F, F, F. All right, guys. That's all I got for today. Hey, if you enjoyed this, please make sure you mount that like button on the way out the door. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel if you think you're subscribed. Just give it a quick double check for me just to make sure. Turn on those notifications if you haven't turned them on already. I will be back tomorrow with some more videos. We've got some great chats coming up this week. I'm going to have Dr. Mark Young on Wednesday. I'm going to have Nicole Solis on Thursday. Nicole is the mom who is getting sued by the teachers union in her state for requesting that she wants to know what her kid is being taught in school. And then of course, I will be back tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. with Joshua for another edition of Nothing Remotely Controversial, and I'll have some other Joshua would probably be a Drama Llama. No, actually, you know what? Joshua, I think actually might be a Karen. I think Joshua, if he took this test, I should have Joshua take this test and see if he comes out as a Karen. But guys, tomorrow at 9:30, I'll have some more videos before that. And yeah, join my locals. If you haven't joined my locals already, kb.locals.com. It's free to join. But if you want to become a supporter and support what I'm trying to do, you can make a monthly donation of $5 or more if you're so inclined, but it starts at $5, or an annual donation of $50 to get that annual membership 2 months free. Get lots of perks. But that's all I got for right now, guys. I'll see you soon. Have a good one.